राधा माधव बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी यशोदानंदना व्रज जनार्दना 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 यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जयम विष्णुपद परमहंस परिषदाचार्य अष्टोत्तरशत श्री श्रीमद श्रील अभय चरणामृत भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील ठाकुर हरिदास की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। यमुना देवी की जय। मायापुर धाम की जय। गंगा देवी की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। इस्कॉन बीबीथी संस्थापक आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री श्री गौरनीताय की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। श्री श्री ललिता विशाखा सहित राधा श्याम सुंदर की जय। गौ प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam tato jayamudīrayet nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki krishne swadhamopagate dhanamajnānāditissah kalau nashtadrishamesha puranarko dhunoditah. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto. Now we're on chapter 65, and we will do text number 1. We have a chapter summary to read first. The title of this chapter is Lord Balarāma. This is Vrindavan. This chapter relates how Lord Balarāma went to Gokula, enjoyed the company of the cowherd girls, and dragged the Yamuna River. One day, Lord Balarāma went to Gokula to see his relatives and friends. When he arrived there, the elder gopis and Lord Krishna's parents, Nanda and Yashoda, who had all been in great anxiety for a long time, embraced him and blessed him. Lord Balarāma offered appropriate respects and greetings to each of his worshipable elders according to age, friendship, and family relation. After Gokula's residence and Lord Balarāma had inquired about each other's welfare, the Lord rested from his journey. In a short while, the young gopis came to Lord Balarāma and questioned him about Krishna's well-being. They asked, "Does Krishna still remember his parents and friends? And will he be coming to Gokula to visit them? For Krishna's sake, we gave up everything, even our fathers, mothers, and other relatives. But now he has abandoned us. How could we help but put our faith in Krishna's words after seeing his sweetly smiling face, and thus being overwhelmed by the urges of Cupid? Still, if Krishna can spend his days in separation from us, why can't we tolerate separation from him? So there's no reason to keep talking about him." In this manner, the gopis remembered Sri Krishna's charming talks, enchanting glances, playful gestures, and loving embraces, and as a result, they all began to cry. Lord Balarāma consoled them by conveying the attractive messages Krishna had given him for them. Lord Balarāma stayed in Gokula for 2 months, sporting with the gopis in the groves on the Yamuna's shore. The demigods who witnessed these pastimes played kettle drums in the heavens and showered down flower petals, while the celestial sages recited Balarāma's glories. One day, Lord Balarāma became intoxicated by drinking some Varuni liquor and began wandering around about the forest in the company of the gopis. He called out to the Yamuna, "Come near me, so I and the gopis can enjoy sporting in your waters." But the Yamuna ignored his command. Lord Balarāma then started to pull the Yamuna with the end of his plow, splitting her into hundreds of tributaries. Trembling out of fright, the goddess Yamuna appeared, fell down at Lord Balarāma's feet, and prayed for forgiveness. The Lord let her go, and then entered her waters with his girlfriends to sport for some time. When they rose from the water, the goddess Kanti presented Lord Balarāma with beautiful ornaments, clothing, and garlands. Even today, the Yamuna River flows through many channels cut by Lord Baladev's plow, the signs of his having subdued her. While Lord Balarāma played, his mind became enchanted by the gopis' pastimes. Thus the many nights he spent in their company seemed to him like a single night. Okay, now we have text number 1. Please kindly repeat. śrī-śuka uvāca balabhadraḥ kuru-śreṣṭha bhagavān ratham āsthitaḥ suhṛt-didṛkṣur utkaṇṭhaḥ prayayau nanda-gokulam śrī-śuka uvāca balabhadraḥ kuru-śreṣṭha bhagavān ratham āsthitaḥ suhṛt-didṛkṣur utkaṇṭhaḥ prayayau nanda-gokulam śrī-śuka uvāca balabhadraḥ kuru-śreṣṭha bhagavān ratham āsthitaḥ suhṛt-didṛkṣur utkaṇṭhaḥ prayayau nanda-gokulam śrī-śuka uvāca balabhadraḥ kuru-śreṣṭha bhagavān ratham āsthitaḥ suhṛt-didṛkṣur utkaṇṭhaḥ prayayau nanda-gokulam śrī-śuka uvāca balabhadraḥ kuru-śreṣṭha bhagavān ratham āsthitaḥ suhṛt-didṛkṣur utkaṇṭhaḥ prayayau nanda-gokulam śrī-śuka uvāca balabhadraḥ kuru-śreṣṭha bhagavān ratham āsthitaḥ suhṛt-didṛkṣur utkaṇṭhaḥ prayayau nanda-gokulam śrī-śuka uvāca balabhadraḥ kuru-śreṣṭha bhagavān ratham āsthitaḥ suhṛt-didṛkṣur utkaṇṭhaḥ prayayau nanda-gokulam śrī-śuka uvāca balabhadraḥ kuru-śreṣṭha bhagavān ratham āsthitaḥ suhṛt-didṛkṣur utkaṇṭhaḥ prayayau nanda-gokulam śrī-śuka uvāca balabhadraḥ kuru-śreṣṭha bhagavān ratham āsthitaḥ suhṛt-didṛkṣur utkaṇṭhaḥ prayayau nanda-gokulam śrī-śuka uvāca. Śukadeva Gosvāmī said, Balabhadraḥ, Lord Balarāma, kuru-śreṣṭha, O best of the Kurus, King Parīkṣit, bhagavān, the Supreme Lord, ratham, on his chariot, āsthitaḥ, mounted, suhṛt, his well-wishing friends, didṛkṣuḥ, wishing to see, utkaṇṭhaḥ, eager, prayayau, traveled, nanda-gokulam, to the cowherd village of Nanda Mahārāja. Translation: Śukadeva Gosvāmī said, O best of the Kurus, once Lord Balarāma, eager to visit his well-wishing friends, mounted his chariot and traveled to Nanda Gokula. Please repeat. Śukadeva Gosvāmī said, O best of the Kurus, once Lord Balarāma, eager to visit his well-wishing friends, mounted his chariot and traveled to Nanda Gokula. Purport by the servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada, founder and Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Savior of the modern world, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. As Śrīla Jīva Gosvāmī points out, Lord Balarāma's journey to Śrī Vṛndāvana is also described in the Hari-vaṁśa, Viṣṇu-parva 46.1. Kasyachid athakalasya smritva gopeshu suhṛdam jagamaiko vrajam ramaha krishnasyanumate sthitaḥ. Remembering the deep friendship he once enjoyed with the cowherd folk, Lord Rama went alone to Vraja, having taken Lord Krishna's permission. The simple residents of Vrindavan were aggrieved that Lord Krishna had gone to live elsewhere. So Lord Balarāma went there to console them. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur addresses the question of why Lord Krishna, the great ocean of pure love, did not also go to Vraja. In explanation, the Acharya provides the following two verses. Prayasi prema vikhyataha pitaravati vatsalao prema vashyascha krishnastans tyaktva naha katham eshyati iti matvaiva yadavaha pratyabhartam haredgatao vraja prema pravardhisva liladhinatvam iyushaha. The Yadu's thought. The Lord's beloved girlfriends are famous for their pure, ecstatic love, and his parents are extremely affectionate toward him. Lord Krishna is controlled by pure love. So if he goes to see them, how will he be able to leave them and come back to us? With this in mind, the Yadus prevented Lord Hari from going, knowing that he becomes subservient to the pastimes in which he reciprocates the ever-increasing love of the inhabitants of Vraja. Om ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. Shri Chaitanya manobhishtam sthapitam yena bhutale swayam rupah kadamahyam dadati swapadantikam vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yudaparagammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Chaitanya Prabhum Vande Balopi Anugrahat Taren Nana Mata Graha Vyaptam Siddhanta Sagaram. I offer my obeisances to Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose mercy even an ignorant child can swim across the conclusions about the ultimate truth, which is full, the ocean of conclusions about the ultimate truth, which is full of the crocodiles of various theories. Here we are starting this new chapter. Lord Balarāma visits Vrindavan, a very eventful time in the lives of the gopis, especially all the Vrajavasis in general. Śrīdhara Swami has given his summary for this chapter, and he's only given a summary for the chapter. He hasn't made any specific comments for this verse. He says, Pancha Shashtitame Ramas Chakre Gokulam Agataha Ramamanastu Gopibhihi Kalindyaha Karshanam Madat. In the 65th chapter, Lord Balarāma arrives in Gokula, enjoys with the gopis, and angrily draws the Yamuna. You can say Mada means anger here, or you can say Mada means intoxication. Either one is relevant. You can choose. Ramasya charitam chitram kalindya karshanadiyata paundrakantadi krishnasya prithag uktam atah param. In the 65th chapter, the activities of Lord Balarāma, such as drawing the Yamuna, are wonderful. Even more so are Krishna's dispatching Paundraka and so on, mentioned separately. When is that mentioned? In the next chapter. That's chapter 66. Stay tuned. Okay, so what else do we have here? Śrīdhara Swami's commentator Vamshidhara Acharya, he just says, Karshanam akarshanam. Here, karshanam means to draw towards oneself. The word is used here. Chitram is also used, and it simply means adbhutam, wonderful. Okay. Otherwise, he's quoting Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and others, so we don't need to go into that, because Vamshidhara came later than Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And he seems to have been a Gaudiya Vaishnava because he's almost always paraphrasing Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Sanatana Goswami has also commented here. Having stated that Krishna was affectionate to the miserable, Balarāma's affection is now described until the end of the chapter, because it's in relation to Krishna's great affection for his devotees. He can't stand to see the suffering of the Brajavasis. He desired to see Nanda, Yashoda, and others, suhṛt, because he was anxious to see them after long separation. To go quickly, he mounted his accustomed chariot and went wearing cowherd dress to the cowherd village of Nanda. If he were to go in kingly garb as he wore in Dwarka, how would they all feel? Right? So, he was very sensitive to the needs of the Vrajavasis. Hari-vaṁśa describes this. He's quoting the same verse that we've already heard already. Balarāma quickly entered Braj, ornamented with attractive and rustic clothing. He did this because he was most merciful, bhagavān, in Vamshitara's opinion, or Sanatana Goswami's opinion, means most merciful. Have you heard this? What do we hear about the name Bhagavan? What does it mean? 6 bhagas, right? What are the 6 bhagas? In English. This is English class. Yeah, no, they're all opulences. Fame, knowledge, beauty, renunciation, strength, wealth, yes. Therefore he's called Shripati or Madhava. Madhava. Dhava means pati, husband. Ma means the goddess of fortune. Therefore the Lord is called Madhava. Gaudiya Vaishnavas in particular, they like this name of Madhava because it's very close related with his internal potency. Okay, so Kaschit, what do we have here? Yeah, he's also quoting the same 2 verses actually. Kasyachid athakalasya smritva gopeshu suhṛdam jagamaiko vrajam ramaha krishnasyanumate sthitaḥ. Remembering the deep friendship he once enjoyed with the cowherd folk, Balarāma went alone to Vraj, having taken Krishna's permission. These 2 verses, it would seem, are from Viṣṇu-Purana, because in the whatever is in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's almost mirrored perfectly in the Viṣṇu-Purana. Slightly paraphrased, but otherwise all the same things are there, more or less. Later it said that he pacified them with Krishna's messages. That's in this chapter, text 16. He brought some messages from Krishna, just like when Krishna sent Uddhava. Krishna never forgets his devotees. He never forgot these gopis and others. So this is an example of that. We'll talk about that in a few moments. He had strong intelligence, balabhadraḥ. That's how Sanatana Goswami takes the name balabhadraḥ. Strong intelligence. I guess Bhadra means intelligence, according to Sanatana Goswami. Thus he could pacify the great devotees. O best of the Kurus. Who is the best of the Kurus? King Parīkṣit, those who've been listening carefully. Thus he could pacify the great devotees. O best of the Kurus, Śukadeva is joyful because of Balarāma's departure for this purpose. Or, like you, Balarāma was also the best of the Kurus, being the elder brother of Krishna. That's why I asked, because it's in the same case. In Sanskrit, if 2 words are in the same case, they can refer to the same person. So Balarāma, Balabhadraḥ, he can also be kuru-śreṣṭha. Either way you want to take it. Okay. How is Balarāma kuru-śreṣṭha? Because he's the elder brother of Krishna. Either way, he should go to make Krishna's promise of returning soon come true. Because after all, there's no difference between Balarāma and Krishna. If Balarāma comes back, that means Krishna came back also. Even in the Bhagavatam. We hear in other places that Krishna did come back to Vrindavan, but it's a little bit secret. In Bhagavatam, we only hear of Balarāma's coming back. Okay. Understanding that Parīkṣit, although blissful because of Krishna's various pastimes, was disturbed upon remembering the pain experienced by Gokula's inhabitants, produced by Krishna's sudden departure from Gokula, Śukadeva tells a story to console him, leaving other stories aside. He praises Parīkṣit with, O best of the Kurus. Balarāma, the Supreme Lord, desired to see his friends, Nanda, and others, for whom he had more pure affection as his father and relatives than he did for Vasudeva and the other Yadus. Suhṛda means those in whose hearts, hṛt, there was splendor, su, because of affection with identification as Krishna's father, mother, etc. You got this? Why are they called suhṛt? Because they have in their hearts the most splendid thing. That is their particular kind of affection that each of them have, I should say. Not each of them, each of us also. We also have our own splendor within our hearts, suhṛt. Therefore, Bhagavatam is meant for suhṛt-satam. When we become honest, satam, then what is within our hearts already, that beautiful thing that will manifest. And that thing Krishna finds irresistible. You cannot resist that. Okay, so this is being stated here. Desiring to see them, he went to Gokula. Previously, he longed to go see them with feelings of separation for a long time. But now he got permission from Krishna. And then he quotes the same verses from Hari-vaṁśa we don't need to repeat. But after taking Krishna's permission and remembering how much they loved him and how he enjoyed in their company, Balarāma went to Braj. It will be said later that at this time he gave permission so that Balarāma could console them with messages. Krishna gave permission so that he could console them with messages from himself. Krishna also had a desire to go with Balarāma, but Vasudeva would not permit him to go, since he feared Krishna would stay there, since Krishna was bound to Nanda and others with prema. What kind of prema? Incomparable prema. Nobody else has this kind of prema as the Vrajavasis, especially his parents and the young gopis. That is intense, most intense love. He thus sent Balarāma alone in order to hide his message to Nanda that he would also come there. Understanding their feelings, Balarāma went, prayayau, wearing cowherd dress. Hari-vaṁśa describes this, and we've already heard. So he went on his chariot because of his intense longing. He wanted to go very fast. This is what Sanatana Goswami says. In Krama Sandarbha, Jīva Gosvāmī says the same things. Essentially, they're all saying the same things in slightly different words only. So I'm not going to repeat that. Jīva Gosvāmī does point out, though, that it's going to be explained later that Krishna gave permission to Balarāma because Krishna was not able to go. Parents are very important. Matra devo bhava, pitra devo bhava, Taittiriya Upanishad tells us. They're also like God, just like the spiritual master is like God. He's to be respected in that way. And here we see them setting the example. Actually, throughout the Bhagavatam, even in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see, whenever there's mention of the strong love that these gopis, in particular the young gopis, had for Krishna and Balarāma, somehow or other, when they're expressing their love for him, in similar circumstances as this, also at Kuru-śreṣṭha, they don't, first of all, mention their own plight. Who do they mention always first? Here also, there also. Who is being mentioned first? Parents. The parents, because they're elders. They're very respectful. Every morning cannot be complete unless the gopis come to Nanda and Yashoda's house and pay respects. Every day they do this. So here we see they're also doing like this. So, as the BBT purport has already stated, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he gives his own special insights into this situation. That why didn't Krishna go? The Yadus thought the gopis are famous for their pure ecstatic love, and Krishna's parents have intense love for him. Krishna is controlled by that kind of love. So if he goes to see the Brajvasis, what guarantees is there that he will come back? They were afraid. There's competition like this in the spiritual world. In a sense, you can say they're being selfish, the Yadus, because they cannot stand to leave Krishna. It's not a question of really being selfish as much as self-preservation is the first law of nature. Have you heard this? Self-preservation. In all circumstances, your first duty is to maintain your life. because it's only with that life that we have that we can become Krishna conscious. And the Yadus also have pure prema for Krishna, not exactly on the same level of the Vrajavasis, but they're worried. If we pass away through Krishna's absence, then what will happen to Dwarkadish? They're not even thinking of themselves, they're thinking of him also. When you give the gift of your heart, one Braj poet said, you receive both pleasure and pain. It's always like that. So it's really, there's a lot of conflict in the spiritual world over the emotions that different kinds of devotees express. This is exactly why Balarāma is coming. That kind of intense, no one can ignore that kind of love. What to speak of Balarāma, the Supreme Personality Godhead. It's already been mentioned here, Krishna and Balarāma both. He is the, what is it described as, the ocean of the most intense love, no? That's Krishna. So, and then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also raises the idea that, well, then neither should Balarāma be able to leave Krishna. Because who loves Krishna more than Balarāma? Balarāma ki. So Krishna is more dear to Balarāma than his own life. But this argument is settled by saying that Krishna had such eagerness, utkaṇṭhaḥ, that his discrimination and sense control disappeared. Balarāma is the weak side of Krishna, according to this interpretation. There's other reasons as well. Because after all, Balarāma is in what mood? What is Balarāma's? Service mixed with Vatsalya, both. But as a servant of Krishna, if Krishna tells him to deliver this message, he has to do it. He didn't have a choice. Nanda and Yashoda, they had a huge fight when Akrura came to take away Krishna to Mathura, because they knew, what is his purpose? They knew very well. He'll kill. His intention is to kill Krishna. So, Yashoda was so angry. According to some descriptions, and Brihad Bhagavatamritam says one thing, Bhagavatam says a different thing, commentators. But the only reason she gave permission to Nanda to allow Krishna to go, she gave permission to her husband. This is what it means to be the home minister. So, because she knew he's giving his word, I will bring him back. And he had every intention of doing that. But he couldn't do it because Krishna's desire was otherwise. Krishna had desired this Leela to go on, to intensify their love to such a degree that we're still talking about it 5,000 years later. So-called love in this world, everybody forgets about it, even in the same lifetime. Divorce hota hai India mein bhi. So, anyway. So this is the idea that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. These are the comments of our predecessors, and few words here in this verse are very significant. Suhṛt-didṛkṣuḥ. He is desiring to see. Who is he desiring to see? The suhṛts. And suhṛt means anyone who only has well-wishing for you. Well, you're ever well-wisher, Śrīla Prabhupada always used to say. Suhṛt. He has a good heart towards you. It means pure-hearted, kind-hearted, well-disposed, a friend, a bosom friend, someone who's fond of you, liking you, a like-minded person also. Suhṛt. Similar. It's kind of like in literature we have a very similar word, saḥridaya. Saḥridaya means somebody who is able to empathize, sympathize really with the author, such that he understands. Those people get affected. Those are the people who get affected by a tragic story. We see this even in the mundane realm. People go to see movies, or now the movies come into your house by dint of the internet and cell phones. They've figured out a way to invade everyone's house, in fact. This is cultural homogenization as the precursor for civilizational erasure, or as one author put it, what did he say? Cultural digestion. You want to destroy a culture like Macaulay tried, but didn't quite finish? Then you just invade everybody's house with your thing and give them very little chance to resist the temptation. I know this because I was preaching to all the IT engineers in Seattle, Washington, who in this heyday of Microsoft Corporation were all working for Bill Gates. What does IT stand for? International Tamil. Or Telugu nowadays. Khaskar among American. But they were all Tamilayers, and some of them were previously pujaris. Fortunately, by the divine intervention of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada and their representatives, some of them have resumed their status as pujaris now in South India. They gave up Bill Gates and they came back to God. So, anyway, we were preaching to these people, and one couple told me that, we have these meetings, the motivational, meetings for the corporate, the guys with suitcases come and they want to get everybody fired up about their corporation. So they're all good talkers, they have to say something. So they said, this is back in the 1990s, that you should not consider that your work is done until every room of every house has our product in it. And that is the fact nowadays, isn't it? With the Internet of Things. Everything is, you don't even know how they're spying on you. But you know that they're spying on you. How do you know? You have a conversation in private with your suhṛt, and somehow or other, the next day you're going to see all the ads are coming related to that thing only. Everything, they're very keenly listening to everything you're doing. And even if that doesn't work, now they've got machine learning and artificial intelligence employed to figure out what you're thinking by what you're looking at. They extrapolate. This is what it means to be in samadhi. Are we that focused? I don't think so. But these demons, they're very serious about Maya. And they're very serious about controlling everything in the world, all things animate and inanimate. They're very serious about becoming God, although they won't admit it. But this is the agenda. Anyway, we can call them duhrit or kuhrit instead of suhṛt. All right, anyway, suhṛt means a close loved one, and didṛkṣuḥ. Didṛkṣuḥ is a desiderative noun, means he wants to go and see them. Balarāma himself, he wants. It's his own desire also. It's not just because Krishna sent him, but he wants to see them. And that's proven by the next word. What is that? Utkaṇṭhaḥ. Utkaṇṭhaḥ. What does utkaṇṭhaḥ mean? We know this means up. Kantha. Kantastha kuch hai, no? What does kantha mean? Throat. Like this. You're eagerly looking down the path to see, is he coming? So Balarāma was in this mood. This describes Balarāma's strong love and eager desire to go there and see his devotees. Usually, we go to tirthas, right? We go to Jagannath Puri, we go to Mayapur, people come to Vrindavan. What is our purpose? We come here to see Krishna. But here we can see that Krishna goes to see his devotees. Balarāma is going to see his devotees. This is also mentioned either in the liberated souls, like the Brijavasis in this case, but even in the material world, he comes looking for us. Anuvadhavat. It's described in the 11th canto. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chasing us down, even in this material world. That is exactly what it means. Anudhavat. To run after someone. That's the kind of love that he has for his devotees. He loves us so much, all of us. We think of Krishna. we chant his holy names, we serve him, we very ardently pray, we do everything we can to go back to Godhead. But Krishna also pines for us. We don't know this. We're not conscious of his being a person. Someone asked Indraduna Swami once, what is the most important element of deity worship? Anybody know what he said? Any disciples here? I don't know. He said, to always be conscious of the fact that the deity is a person. You have to treat him as a person, and then he will respond as a person. If he's not responding as a person, well, you have to think about that for yourself. Why? So Krishna also pines away for us in our absence. You have that much value inside of you. Do you realize it? God has no weakness. No one can conquer him, but this will conquer him if it is pure love. That's the caveat. And he's hoping that someday we will be kind to him. He's hoping someday we will be merciful to him by choosing to come back after so long. How long have we been away? Krishna feels this way towards every single one of these parts and parcel living entities that are distributed throughout the entire creation. He's so humble. He values each of us so much. It's described like this in the 9th canto. Anybody know the verse I'm thinking of? Sadhavo hridayam mahyam. Only a few people read Prabhupada's books. Anyway, this was in connection with Ambarish Maharaj. Saints are in my heart, I am in their heart. They don't know anyone but me. I don't recognize anyone but them. This is the general principle. It's dilated a little bit for our purposes here by Chitraketu in the 6th canto, chapter 16, text 40. Jita majita tada bhavata. Very unusual chanda here. Yadaha bhagavatam dharmam anavadyam nishkinchanaye munaya atmaramayam upasate pavargaya. What does it mean? He says, O unconquerable one, when you spoke about Bhagavata Dharma, which is the uncontaminated religious system for achieving the shelter of your lotus feet, that was your victory. Persons who have no material desires, like the Kumaras, who are self-satisfied sages, worship you to be liberated from material contamination. In other words, they adopt the process of Bhagavata Dharma in order to achieve shelter at your lotus feet. And Śrīla Prabhupada writes in his purport, this is very significant, so please listen carefully. Living entities who are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are loitering in this material world, suffering. When they are instructed by the Lord himself about Bhagavata Dharma and they adopt it, that is victory for the Lord. For he then reclaims these fallen souls. It is not victory when he dispatches demons. That's an easy thing for him to do. He doesn't even have to do it himself. But the real thing is how to get this person's heart. What do I have to do to wake? We are so covered. And he's taxing his brain, if you can imagine that. God, with all omniscient personality of Godhead, taxing his brain. Actually, it's more the devotees who tax their brains. Prabhupada told us to tax our brains because we are not omniscient. He knows everything, but he wants to engage the pure devotees. And they do. They come. That would be us, my friends. We have to extend ourselves also to the pure devotees to that degree. It means we have to tax our brains. So, the Lord is always watching us. He's never apart. He's always waiting to see how much of our love we will give to him, because everybody has 100% love, no? Sometimes we think, I don't have any love. But actually, you all have love. You cannot erase it. It's there. All you can do is efface it. You can cover it, hide it, double click on it. Program is still running, but it's not on the desktop. That's what you can do. But everybody has 100% love, 100%, so pratishat. So he's waiting to see how much of our love we will choose to give back to him. And it's the devotee's onus on behalf of the Lord to act as his representative, to act as the conduit of his compassion by extending themselves, shedding gallons of their own blood for one person, to deliver that person. That guarantees your path back to Godhead. And it is victory if such a person can be pulled out of this world. Krishna never tires of this. He focuses on us 24 hours a day, every day, each day, eternally. Eternally. Think about it. No one else loves us like that. This is the love that Balarāma is feeling in his heart. That's why he's so utkaṇṭhaḥ and suhṛt-didṛkṣur. He knows they have similar love for him. Suhṛt. And he wants to see them. So just like when Gopakumar and Brihad Bhagavatamritam, when he went back to Godhead, Krishna embraced him. They both felt unconscious. And Krishna told him, every single day I'm looking down this road, utkaṇṭhaḥ, samudkaṇṭhaḥ, waiting. And when is he coming? Finally, Sarup, you've come back. They couldn't contain the ecstasy. And so many times we find this. I'm just waiting for you to come. We don't value this kind of love very much. We don't value it because we identify perversion as love instead. That's our problem. Hrid-roga kama. Everything is infected by that perversion. But Krishna is extremely anxious for us to return home. Unfortunately, our time is up now. I'm just going to recite one ancient English poem which is relevant here. This was written in the early 17th century. That's a long time ago for English poetry by one priest. His name was George Herbert. The poem is called Matins. He raises a question, my God, what is a heart? Silver or gold or precious stone or star or rainbow or a part of all these things or all of them in one? My God, what is a heart? That thou shouldst it so eye and woo and pour upon it all thy art, as if thou hast nothing else to do. Do you get it? Poetry is hard to understand if it's not your matrabhasha. Poetry is always the hardest part of any language. But he's saying that, what is this? What is love, he's asking, really. That's what it comes down to. Because the heart is just a receptacle for that love. What makes a suhṛt is the shining love within. Shining love. Okay. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to distribute this love. And Srila Prabhupada has surrendered to his spiritual master's order to distribute this worldwide. And we're all sitting here as a result of his mercy, his divine grace, And so let us all remain grateful and bow down to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, all of our predecessors, all of our gurus, and surrender unto this love and try to embrace this in reality within our own hearts. And how do we do that? By very seriously chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's more essential than air that you breathe. It's more essential than that. All right, we have to stop now. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions or any comments on anything? If not, then I think, okay, one question maybe from Jignasu. A microphone?
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, here we see Balarāma. How
The anger is
having that he is calling Yamuna and Yamuna doesn't come, and he is pulling his with plow to.
Why does Balarāma become so angry to pull
Yeah.
Yamuna towards him?
Yeah.
Well, this is the flaw of intoxication, my friends. How do you like that? Deshi teka sharab hoti hai na. You see the signs everywhere. Yeah, people are doing this. They should understand. It's a problem. It ruins families, and not for just one generation. It causes severe damage. Anyway, serious answer. This is Balarāma's Leela. Because what would we have to talk about if he didn't do anything, right? So he does all wonderful things. He became intoxicated by the Varuni beverage, and he became angry at the Yamuna, and she was also, maybe you can say she didn't want to come. She considered he's negligible because he's intoxicated. This is how we dismiss a person who's intoxicated. We don't take them seriously. She also did this wonderful thing at his behest for the sake of Leela. So then, anyway, we're coming to that. We will hear in the coming verses. All right, thank you very much. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare